And we are live. What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Eric Wilson. Today, by myself, doing a little bit of a live stream here, about an hour ahead of tonight's game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. We're going to be sitting here in the chat, just discussing the upcoming game, expectations, really anything about the Rangers. Everyone who is here watching the live stream, feel free to leave any questions or comments down in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to discuss them and cover them. But while we just get started and head into things, make sure you like, subscribe, ring that bell so you never miss a notification for Fireside Rangers, and be sure to follow all of our social media accounts at Fireside Rangers on both X and YouTube. All right, we got a couple people in the chat here. Pavel, welcome back. Dylan says 131 should be the new chant. I like that. That's funny. Ryan, how's it going? But yeah, so we're about an hour away from game time. Rangers will be taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight. I don't want to say it's going to be an easy win. Is it true that the Rangers are a little more skilled than the Blue Jackets? Yes, but the Rangers do have a tendency to play down to their competition, and that is what I'm a little concerned of. We played great against Buffalo, but who knows what's going to happen tonight? It's a new game. You can't really just – hopefully you can just build on the momentum and not just guarantee another win. Yes, Pavel says if the Rangers play like they did the other night, we're going to be hard to beat. I agree. You look back at the season opener against Buffalo, I don't have a single bad thing to say. I think every single player on the Rangers looked phenomenal. We had a great game, and there was nothing bad to say whatsoever. Everyone showed up, everyone performed, and hopefully we're able to do that again. Because if we can maintain that level of consistency, the Rangers might be brewing something special right here. But I don't know. I'm a little excited for it. I haven't seen any official lines just yet, but I do know that Igor Shesterkin will be in net once again. So that's always a good sign. Nothing against Jonathan Quick, of course, but Igor is Igor. You know, you feel more confident with your starter in net right there. But yeah, so we'll be sitting here. I'll be answering your questions for maybe about the next half hour. It is just me today. Everyone else of the Fireside Rangers team was a little busy today. So you guys are stuck with me for the next little bit. But anything you guys want to talk about, I know we got a couple people in the chat right now. Feel free to bring it up. I'm going to take a second, see if I can find any of the official lines going into tonight. But I am pretty sure the only really difference we're going to be seeing from game one heading into this game is the addition of Jimmy Vesey instead of Tyler Pitlick. And I think, fourth line right wing, that is one of those positions where you don't really think about it too often, but it is important. The fourth line really mainly consists of grinders, letting the top lines rest and stuff. But I personally, if I were Peter Laviolette, would have put Jimmy Vesey in game one. But Pitlick played fine. I don't think he's bringing any negatives to the team. I'm just a fan of Jimmy Vesey. So it'll be nice to see him have his season debut tonight. But all right, taking a look on Twitter here. Not really seeing much regarding the lines. I think they're going to be pretty much the same exact as in game one. I do know that Kaapo Kakko earlier today did take a little bit of a high stick to the face during practice, but he's expected to play. Kakko's fine. He's a big, strong kid. And, hopefully he'll net his first point of the season so far, because in game one against Buffalo, Kaapo Kakko was the only forward in the top six to not record a point. So it's nothing to be concerned about, just something to note, if that makes sense. Pavel says, great to see Laffy. Plays excellent. I agree. Lafreniere. I think it's funny. We did another preview live stream for the Buffalo game, and me and Colin kind of just really went hard on Lafreniere, just talking about how we're starting to give up hope. His playoff performance in preseason really hasn't looked the best. And then he goes out there and he scores the first goal of the season. So I remember me and Colin were texting each other. We're like, of course, and 30 minutes after we stopped hating on him, he just goes out there and shuts us up. But I'm happy for him. I'm always rooting for Lafreniere to succeed, even outside of his goal. He looked excellent. He should have had an assist on that Panarin goal, but, it might have bounced off a Sabre stick, therefore avoiding him of any point totals. But I never realized the amount of potential that Lafreniere had. Well, I said that weird. We knew he had the potential, but I've never seen him show it before, where he's actually put that potential to use. So I think Lafreniere had a great game one. He's another player who's really in need of a breakout season. And hopefully, just hopefully, we're finally going to see that happen. It's hard to judge all of these players. He played well in the season opener because it was only one game. It's not like the NFL where you play once a week and one game can determine your entire career. This is hockey, and it's an 82 game season, and it's only been 2 days since our last game. So who knows? Hopefully, Lafreniere and the rest of the stars who were putting up goals last game can really come in and keep scoring. And hopefully, it's just not a one game fluke. But we will see what happens tonight against Columbus. I am pretty optimistic when it comes to this game. As we know, Columbus isn't really projected to make the playoffs, but they do have a couple of players that we should really look out for. Patrick Laine, one of the best shots in the entire league. Adam Fantilli was just drafted 3rd overall this year, and he's playing his second game. He's already has 1 point in one game with an assist in their season opener. So I think it's going to be very important that the Rangers shut that down immediately. As I'm sure most of you in the chat know, in the past, the Rangers do have a tendency to let rookies score their first NHL goals against them. Hopefully not this time. So hopefully Fantilli won't score. But welcome to everyone who's just now joining us. We will be discussing this for about another 30 minutes, I would say. The 3D Creeper, welcome to the show. I hope Kakko gets a point tonight's game. Yeah, I kind of just briefly touched on that, but he was the only forward in the top 6 to not record a point in the season opener, and we're not going to hate on him for that because it is only one game, but it would really be nice to see Kakko start to produce some points right away, especially here on Fireside Rangers. We've been very big on Kakko, projecting a breakout season from him. He had a career high of 40 points last season. We're hoping that playing with Kreider and Zibanejad could maybe elevate him to high 50s, maybe even 60 points this upcoming season. So we have very high expectations from him. I know a lot of Rangers fans do as well. That's the same with the organization. This is the final year of Kakko's bridge deal. So after this, it's payday for him. And if he doesn't start to break out and start scoring a lot of goals, who knows what's going to happen this summer, which it should be an interesting one with the amount of contracts we have coming to an end. But I don't know. I'm very hopeful of Kakko. I have a lot of faith in him, a lot more than I do in Lafreniere. He's looked great. He looks very strong with the puck. He's a very physical player. He just kind of has really bad puck luck. There's a lot he sets himself up for a lot of chances and then he just gets robbed. You as a player, you cannot control that. That is out of his area of control. Sorry, I'm just plugging in my laptop here so make sure we don't die on you guys. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very hopeful on Kakko and I'm expecting big things from him. So we'll see if he's able to score his first point, hopefully goal of the season tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets. 3D Creeper back with another question. Do you think Igor will have a .935 save percentage again? I hope so. I think Igor is currently the best goalie in the league. Andrei Vasilevsky is out with injury, so I can't really comment on that. I think even when Vasilevsky's healthy, Igor does make a very strong case for it. If you're in the group that views Vasilevsky as number 1, then you can't deny Igor as number 2. He's a world-class goalie, and I think he has the potential to have amazing numbers this season. You look at him throughout preseason and just opening night, he already looks like he's in midseason form. He's making all these crazy saves, only allowing 1 goal, having a crazy save percentage. So yeah, against a team like Columbus, who isn't the best, I think Igor does have the potential to explode and make a lot of crazy saves tonight. So I don't know if it's likely because he's not going to be perfect every single game, but I'm not going to say that it's impossible because it very well is, and he could easily have an even higher save percentage. So I'm very excited to see Igor. Bob asks, what are you drinking, Eric? I just have water in here. It's too early in the day. We'll wait till 7 p.m. when the game starts. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very hopeful for this game. I'm praying for a Rangers win. Shouldn't be too difficult. But like I mentioned at the very beginning of this live stream, the Rangers do have a tendency to play down to their opponents, go into games not putting in as much effort as they usually do just because teams are lower in the standings. So I think it's very important that the Rangers do take this game seriously, not get too overwhelmed with a 5-1 blowout to start the season. It shouldn't be something that you're just like, oh, we did so good. It doesn't really matter what we do next. You need to build on this, create some momentum, and hopefully get a little bit of a winning streak going right now. Because I know the Metropolitan Division is extremely stacked. And even at this stage of the season where we're really just getting started, every single point counts. I'm pulling up the divisional standings right now. The Devils did take an overtime loss or a shootout loss, I can't remember which, to the Arizona Coyotes last night, which puts them at 1-0-1. So they're leading the division with 3 points in 2 games, which the Rangers are then second at 1-0 because we've only played 1 game. But then Carolina's also undefeated. Pittsburgh's 1-1. Philly's 1-1. And then Columbus and Washington are both 0-1. And for some reason, the NHL decided to forget to schedule Islanders games. Not really sure why. They have their season debut tonight as well. So, as a Rangers fan, I'm not going to watch the Islanders, but I will be keeping a close eye on that score. 3D Creeper back again. I have a feeling Kreider will come close to that 52-goal season again. I am hopeful, but I am not super hopeful, where I think Kreider is – I'm going to start off a little criticism right here. He's extremely inconsistent. I've always said this growing up. Kreider is the most consistently inconsistent player on the Rangers. He'll go on these crazy goal streaks, putting up like 10 goals in 5 games, but then all of a sudden he kind of just disappears, and then he won't score another goal for the next like month and a half. So that one season where Kreider was able to notch 52 goals, that was the one rare season where he didn't disappear at all. He stayed consistent the entire time. And so what we know is he does have the potential to do it. The question is he going to remain consistent? Having 2 goals in the season premiere, yes, that's a good sign, but it's hard to evaluate after 1 game. I think Pavel did put it the best way, or just here. Kreider's 30-plus goals this season. Yeah, he's always going to be good for 30. That 1 year that he finally broke the 30-goal barrier, he really just kept going. So I don't know if he's going to hit 50. It's possible. I'm hoping for 40, but I wouldn't settle for anything less than 30. I would be gunning for Kreider at that point, hoping for a trade. Ryan also says, I'm hoping Panarin's bald head makes him pop off. I am too. Panarin was one of those players who really disappeared in the playoffs last year, held the Rangers back, and a lot of it really had to do with mental problems. He lost his confidence. He didn't feel it like himself out on the ice, and it really showed. So, I know we like to crack jokes about Panarin shaving his head. He says he did it to there were demons living in his hair. But at the same time, as funny as it is, if that's what it takes for him to get his confidence back and come back as a new player, then by all means, I am all in 100%, because he looked like a completely different player against Buffalo. Not only did he produce points with a goal and an assist, but he had a lot of takeaways. He looked very strong. He was checking, he was forechecking, backchecking. He did everything. And I saw a side of Panarin that I have not seen in a very, very long time. 3D Creeper. Who do you believe is most likely to hit 100 points? Again, I'm going to have to go with Panarin. He's come very, very close every single year, like low 90s, mid 90s, high 90s. He probably would have hit it a couple years ago. He finished with 96 points again. I can't remember the exact year, but that was the same season that he had to take like a 2-week leave of absence to go deal with personal issues back in Russia. So you imagine Panarin plays those 2 weeks, he's going to net another 4 points and would have hit 100. I think this is his comeback season. I'm big on Panarin. He's my favorite player, so I might sound a little biased towards him. But out of anyone in the Rangers, I think the only other one besides Panarin that might come close would be Zibanejad or Adam Fox, really. As you look back last season, Panarin, I think, had 92 points. Zibanejad had 91 right behind him, and then Fox was at 82. And then after that, the drop-off was like down to the 60s. So I'm going to have to go with Panarin there, just by far. Anthony, my co-host who couldn't make it today, said saw Panarin at Penn Station last week. He told me a hat trick was coming against the Jackets. Let's go. Anthony, I do have a hard time believing that, but big if true, because I know if you met Panarin, he would have sent me a picture and made me jealous. But yeah, Panarin hat trick would make me extremely, extremely happy. But we are now 45 minutes away from game time. I still don't see any lines when I look on Twitter, Instagram, anything. I think it is all but confirmed that the lines are going to remain almost exactly the same, though, besides VC and for Pitlick. But it'd be nice to get some sort of confirmation. Um, Pavel asks how many goals Wheeler scores. I'm going to assume you mean for the entire season. Um, I'm very hopeful on Wheeler. He's a little old. I believe he's 37 now or 38. I'm going to pull up his player profile really quick because I know last season he scored 55 points, but I'm not sure exactly what the goal total was right there. Let's just pull this up really quick. Last season he had 16 goals, 39 assists for 55 points. So yeah, I mean he's an old player. He's not going to be. Yeah, he's 37, not 38. He just turned 37 too at the end of the off season. Um, like I'm hopeful. I think that third line looks really like very high potential right there with who isn't it? Will Cooley, Vincent Trocheck, and then Blake Wheeler. But they're not really the line that's out there to score goals. You know, they're like the very strong defensive offense, defensively offensive type of line where if I were a young player on a different team trying to score, I would not want to be going up against that line. So I think hopefully he will reach similar numbers as last season, like mid 50s, but he is getting older, new team. Those stats are going to continue to decline at this point in his career. So I don't know. Goals with 16 last year. I would just hopefully aim for around the same, make a strong push for 20. But if he falls just short of it, I'm okay with that. If he gets less than 10, I would be a little disappointed unless it's also joined by amazing defensive play. So I don't know. I think the Wheeler signing was great. Very low risk, high reward. If it doesn't work out, we spent less than $1 million. It doesn't matter. So I don't know. Very, very hopeful on Wheeler. 3D Creeper says, I hope the second line never changes. I have to agree with you there. It was a great line. Panarin does tend to elevate those around him. So playing with Hedel and Lafreniere, both of them getting a goal and an assist. Well, Lafreniere goal, Hedel assist, already shows that Panarin is ready to go. He had 2 points himself, a goal and an assist. So it's already showing signs of growth. Both of the young kids playing alongside Panarin, they're ready. They're ready for that breakout. And if anyone's going to help them get it, it is going to be Artemi Panarin. Um, let's see. What do we got here? Pablo says, I'm hoping for 20 plus. Yes, I do have to agree. Pushing for 20 would be very, very nice from Blake Wheeler. Sorry, there's like some bots in the chat. Matt says, "Hey Eric, already excited to see what the boys are going to do tonight. I am too. I'm very excited. And who isn't? After such an amazing season premiere against Buffalo. I kind of mentioned it earlier. Everyone was perfect. I don't have a bad thing to say about anything that happened in that game. And all we can do as Rangers fans is just hope that we continue to play the same way for the remainder of the season. Not every game is going to be perfect, but we can hope for some sort of similarities between their amazing play." Matt then asks, do you think Kane might come back? I know it's a long shot. I personally don't think so. I know there are rumors that have gone around from some pretty big names in the NHL realm of media coverage where Patrick Kane is starting to get fully healthy. He plans on re-signing with the Rangers at some point in November, but it just doesn't make sense to me. At this point, one, the Rangers don't have a lot of money. We're going into this season with less than $1 million in cap space, projected cap space, and we have a lot of players that need to be re-signed after this season. So even if Patrick Kane does take a massive paycheck, we would have to feed him in like Subway sandwiches to get him to play. Like that would be his paycheck. It's like a cookie and like a pat on the back because we can't afford Patrick Kane. And plus, there are other teams that are interested in him. I know it was recently reported that both the Dallas Stars and the Florida Panthers were 2 teams that were making a very heavy push for Patrick Kane. So it's not. Yes, would Kane probably rather return to the Rangers? I would assume so, but I don't know, other teams with more cap space are going to make a significant push on Kane. And I don't really see it happening, nor do I really want to see it happen. I think towards the end of last season, the Rangers had some really good chemistry going. And then Tarasenko, when we got him, he really elevated that. And then Kane kind of came in. We tried to force like the rekindling of chemistry between Kane and Panarin. It didn't work out. And it just seemed like every line that Kane was put on, it didn't really work. Everyone became too pretty, tried to be like little mini versions of Patrick Kane. And it's not the only reason, but I think it's one of the strong contributing factors towards why we lost in the first round as early as we did. So, do I think he might come back? No. Do I hope he might come back? Also, no. I know that might be upsetting for some people to hear because I was very excited when Kane was traded to the Rangers, but not everything happens the way we want it to. I'm thinking he might go to Buffalo. It's possible. He grew up in Buffalo. It was his hometown team. So if he wants to return home, I'm sure the Sabres would more than gladly sign him, especially if he's willing to take a pay cut. Buffalo's a young team that's they're a fringe playoff team. They might make it. They might not. But I don't know. We will see what happens with him. Matt says, I think there might be a chance Othman will come up by Thanksgiving. I also think there's a chance. Last night, the Hartford Wolfpack started their AHL season, and Othman did net 2 goals in his first ever game of professional hockey. One of the main reasons why Othman wasn't called up was just because of how young he is. He's still like 21, I believe. I don't know if anyone wants to fact check me on that, but it was his first season going pro, moving up from the OHL to the AHL. The Rangers also didn't really have a lot of space, but again, it's only one game. It could have just been a one-game fluke. Othman could go the next 10 without scoring another goal, but 2 goals in one game. It's a great sign from Othman. No one would ever hope for an injury against the Rangers, but if it were to happen, which it's hockey, chances are someone's going to get injured at some point throughout the season. I'm sure the Rangers would more than likely choose Othman to call up at that point. So I don't know if it'll be by Thanksgiving, but I think the chances of us seeing Othman in a Rangers jersey in his NHL debut at some point this season, they're pretty likely. Colin in the chat. Let's go Rangers, baby. Sorry couldn't make it to the live stream tonight, Colin, but hopefully you'll be able to join for tomorrow's episode. I don't know. We'll talk about that later, but I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Super close to game time. Oh, yeah, Colin, you do later go on to say, I wish I could be there for the stream. Pavel says, Detroit wants Kane. I haven't heard anything about that. I know there's a lot of teams eyeing him down, so it seems like pretty much everyone in the NHL is really looking for him. I just know earlier, it was either this morning or yesterday, I did see that it was the Stars and the Panthers were like the 2 leaders looking for Kane. But who knows? It's all rumors. No one knows what's actually going to happen. Who knows if he's ever going to sign anywhere at this point, because I've seen reports that he is fully healthy and he's just like waiting to make a return. And I've also seen people saying he's still in recovery, but I'm not sure. Here's Colin with more info on that. Detroit, Buffalo, Dallas are the leaders for Kane, I believe. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know about the Panthers rumor that I heard. That was earlier today, though, so it could be new. I'm not sure if you know anything about that, Colin. It would be nice if you were here instead of just in the chat, But yeah, who knows? I think just overall on the Kane thing, I'm done. It was an experiment. We tried. It failed. Don't need to test it again, especially when there's going to be a lot of other talent out there at the next trade deadline, a lot younger that might potentially be able to sign for longer, even though the Rangers don't have any money. But we have more money than Vegas, though, who somehow magically entered the season with exactly $0 of cap to work with. They're not negative. They're not positive. They're just nothing. They're flat even. Colin is at the bar. That's hype. I'm glad that you're getting excited. Yeah, Matt, I have to agree with this one. This is a good way to put it. Even though it didn't work out, I'm still glad he was here. I think I don't know how long you guys have been subscribed, but long-term viewers of Fireside Rangers will remember me and Anthony, who's now back in the chat, did predict Patrick Kane traded to the Rangers like 6 months before it happened, and everyone made fun of us. And then as the trade deadline the next season got closer and closer, we just became more and more right. And I remember me and Anthony were at the beach. we got the notification that Patrick Kane traded to the Rangers, and we like sprinted back to his house to record that reaction video. So if you guys want to have a little like throwback in time, go back and watch those videos, because that arc on Fireside Rangers was one of the craziest ones. And even though it didn't work out, I'm happy it happened, because it was nice to see like arguably the greatest American-born player of all time in a Rangers jersey, even for a short amount of time. Matt, back again to say, Lafreniere will prove all the doubters wrong. I hope so, and I do agree. Lafreniere, with his start, the first goal of the Rangers season, it was great to see him get it. I didn't expect that. I don't think many people did, but to see him already on the score sheet is a great sign. We're very hopeful for a breakout from Lafreniere at some point this season or next season among this new bridge deal that he signed this offseason, but the stakes are really high for Lafreniere. He had a great first game, and hopefully playing alongside Filipino, who he's very familiar with from the kid line, and then Panarin, like a world-class superstar who's going to find a way to pass the puck to Lafreniere multiple times per game. Hopefully that's going to be like that spark that really gets this breakout going. Matt again. Also, that one goal Kane had against the Devils will always be epic. Yeah, it was a short-lived stint, but it came with a lot of good memories. Just as Pavel says, we saw Kane in a Rangers uniform. That's priceless. And Anthony back again to say good times. Yes. Eric, was Laviolette your first choice as coach? I think it's hard to look back on it, because when that whole saga was going down after the Gallant firing, me and Anthony did a lot of research. We were following that like hawks, just on Twitter, on Instagram, everything, figuring out who was going to be signed as the new head coach. And we made a lot of videos on it. So it's hard to even keep track of who was even in contention. I know Mike Babcock was at one point. Very happy it wasn't him, but I don't remember if he was my first choice, but I do remember being like very hopeful about it. I think the only concern I had when he was being considered was that he might have been a little too similar to Gerard Gallant. But after seeing him just after the hiring, seeing him with training camp, rookie camp, preseason, even now, I realized that I was very wrong on that judgment. He is the complete opposite of Gerard Gallant, where he was more of like a hands-off coach, going to send his players out on the ice, just let them do their thing, figure it out themselves. Meanwhile, Laviolette is like this is our set plan. This is what we are going to do. And it works, because as we've seen so far in just one game played this season, the Laviolette effect is working. And the players themselves have had nothing bad to say about him. I know Braden Schneider, Vincent Trocheck, Panarin, Igor, they've all had quotes that I've seen in just the recent weeks, just really hyping up Laviolette as coach. They're all very welcoming to him. So to have someone as your leader in the locker room that you can also like be happy following, it's a great sign. You know, the dedication, the effort will be a lot higher with Laviolette. Joe says, hope Lafreniere can throw the negative remarks back at the naysayers' faces. I agree. I hope he does. There was a point in time where I was very not hopeful about Lafreniere. I was almost ready to give up. So to have him spit that back in my face and prove me wrong, I would love nothing more. All I wish is for the Rangers to succeed and finally win a cup 30 years after our last one. And if Lafreniere is the man to get that done, I don't know. I'd be pretty happy about it. So glad we did not hire Babcock or Hines. I agree. I think Hines is a good coach, but a little inexperienced. He's still a little young. Doesn't really have a lot to his resume that would have been beneficial to the Rangers, in my opinion. And he's a very defensive coach, whereas the Rangers have a lot of offensive talent that we still need to put to use. You know, you don't want to have any like boring defensive hockey like the Islanders play. And then Mike Babcock, yeah, he's toxic in the locker room, very problematic. You know, there's been a couple of allegations about him that have been dropped recently. So just to say that the Rangers don't have to deal with that is a good thing. 3D Creeper with the hottest take of the night says VC hits 115 points. Maybe, you know, players have hit that number before, so I can't say it's impossible. But VC, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It is 6:30 though, So I do want to start to wrap things up soon. The games will start in about half an hour. I do got to cook dinner before that begins. But just we'll spend a couple more minutes just wrapping up. If anyone has any last second questions, drop them in the chat now. And I'll just head into my final score prediction. Both Colin and I were wrong after our game 1 live stream. I believe he said it would be a 3-2 victory, and I said 3-1. Those were the two predictions, but they were flip-flopped. I'm going to say that Igor won't be as perfect. I assume he's going to have a good game, but Columbus does have a couple of good goal scorers. Fantilli looking for that first. They got Patrick Laine, Johnny Gaudreau. Boone is still on the team, so I think they might net 2. But the Rangers also have a lot of offensive star power, so I'm just going to go with a solid 4-2 victory for the Rangers. Maybe 3 goals and then an empty netter. Joe says another 1-3-1 shutdown is what I look for tonight. I agree. Just, it worked in game 1. If it continues to work, do not change it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And hopefully that's what Laviolette picks up, because the Rangers were all but perfect in the season opener. So hopefully we're able to do it again. Looks like we're not getting any final questions, so I might start to wrap it up. Who scores first from David right here? I'm going to be optimistic, and I'm going to say that Kaapo Kakko is going to net his first of the season. Only top 6 player who didn't record a point in game 1. I'm hoping that he's going to have a nice goal, finally just break that, not really a drought, but just like get things going, for his potential breakout season. I hope he's going to be Kakko. Tweak it, but don't break it. Enjoy the game all. Let's go Rangers. I have to agree with you there, Joe. Matt here in the chat says, great talk. Good night, everyone. Let's go Rangers. We'll be sure to update everyone throughout the game as well on @Fireside Rangers, both on Twitter and Instagram. And I'm not sure yet who will be joining me out of the Fireside Rangers team, but we'll be uploading a video tomorrow night discussing the outcome of this game, whether it be good or bad. So in order to keep up with all of the content that we are going to be posting, make sure you like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss a notification. I know this is a live stream, but just as we wrap up, drop your score predictions down in the comments below just so I can see how confident all you guys are feeling. And then just for updates throughout the game, make sure you follow @Fireside Rangers on both X and Instagram, and we'll be updating you guys there everywhere. Brian, with the last thing I'm going to pull up and say, Will Cooley gets his first NHL goal tonight. I hope so. I hope he gets more than that. I hope he gets 2 goals, maybe even 3. He might wrap the hat trick. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but this says #NYR say Ryan Lindgren upper body will not play tonight. Zach Jones is on the ice. I'll have to check that in a second right after I wrap up. If it is true and that is a confirmed injury, I'll have that uploaded on Instagram and Twitter right away. But hopefully that's not true, because we need Lindgren. He's very good. But yeah, that about wraps things up for us tonight. Once again, make sure you like and subscribe. And be sure to tune in for all the Rangers content we'll be bringing to you guys this season. But until next time, have a good one, and let's go Rangers. See y'all in the next one.